signal.
Members will be seated. Members of the Congress, it is my great privilege, and I deem it a high honor and personal privilege, to present to you Her Excellency Corazon C. Aquino, President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Hello everyone, I'm Bianca Antoinette Junela, together with Carla L. Orcosa, Andre Dampit, and Andre De Los Rayo, Stephen De Chavez, and today we're going to discuss about analysis of Cory speech before U.S. Congress. Okay, let's start with the author's background. So, who is Cory or Corazon Aquino? So, Cory Aquino was born as Maria Corazon Sumulong Concuanco on January 25, 1933. In Tarlac Province, so the north of Manila, she belonged of a wealthy and politically prominent family. So, in 1954, she graduated from Mount St. Vincent College in New York City with a bachelor degree in French and mathematics. In 1955, she abandoned her father's studies to marry Benigno Simeon Jr. That's why she became Corazon Aquino, now who was then a promising politician. Then she was a loving mother to her 5 children, and she has 4 daughters and 1 son.
When former President Corazon Aquino spoke before a joint session of the United States Congress in September of 1986, the dust was only beginning to settle. It was her visit to America since the dictator Ferdinand Marcos has been deposed in February of the same year, and the Philippines was reckoning with everything administration had inflicted.
That include $26 billion in total foreign debt and communist insurgency that grew throughout the Marcos era from 500 armed guerrillas to 16,000.
So Aquino lodged an appeal for help. Addressing the House, she delivered a historic speech that managed to sway in or favor the vote for an emergency $200 million aid appropriation. In the moving speech, penned by her speechwriter and current ambassador to the United Nations, Teddy Lacking Jr., Aquino defined her reconciliatory stance the communist insurgency a sensitive issue in the U.S., given that with this 1986, and asked for financial aid toward rebuilding the Philippine economy.
We fought for our honor, and if only for honor we shall pay.
She said, agreed to pay the debt that was stolen by Michael Moro.
And yet, should we have to wring the payment from the sweat of our men faces and sink all the wealthy piled up by the man's 250 years of unrequited toils?
The speech was impassioned, deeply personal, and effective. It brought 11 times but applause and bookend with a standing ovation. House Speaker Steve O'Neill called it the finest speech I ever heard in my 34 years in Congress. Senate Majority Leader Robert Dole told her,
Cory, you hit a home run.
and House Minority with 10 lot said,
Let's just say the emotion of the moment saved the day.
it would go down in the annals of our history as one of former President's fitness speech.
On August 22, 1972, opposition Senator Benigno Aquino Jr., together with senators, publishers, and anyone who spoken for the democracy was arrested at the Manila Hilton Hotel in Ermita, Manila, by elements of the Philippine Constabulary Metropolitan Command, or what we call PC Metrocom, led by Col Romeo Gatan. This arrest happened a day after President Ferdinand E. Marcos signed Proclamation number 1081, declaring the entire Philippines under martial law. This was the first time that his family lost him.
This was the second time they lost him. On August 27, 1973, Ninoy was brought back to Fort Bonifacio, where he faced a military tribunal.
On August 13, 1983, Aquino began a meandering week-long flight that took him from Boston to Los Angeles and through Singapore, and Hong Kong and Taiwan. Because Marcos had cut off diplomatic relations with Taiwan, the government there was under no obligation to cooperate with his regime goal of keeping Aquino away from Manila. As China Airlines Flight 811 descended into Manila International Airport on August 21, 1983, warned the foreign journalists traveling with him to have their cameras ready.
In a matter of 3 or 4 minutes, it could all be over.
He noted with chilling prescience, minutes after the plane touched down, Aquino was dead, killed by an assassin's bullet. So Cory Aquino left America to bury her husband.
Still we fought for honor, and if only for honor, we shall pay.
She emphasized that the fight they started was not wasted and it was not nonsense. That day, the Filipinos put up a good fight against the administration.
The task had fallen on my shoulder to continue offering the democratic alternative to our people.
She took the responsibilities in taking care and fighting for the sake of freedom of the whole country.
In May 1984, new election for parliament took place and opposition parties claimed 58 of the 183 available seats, even though there was a large allegation of election fraud. Corazon had publicly endorsed all the candidates running for the opposition parties.
Marcos recently called for snap or early presidential election amid sharp domestic and U.S. criticism over his handling of a growing communist insurgency and a severe economic crisis.
Corazon Aquino, despite a lack of political experience, said that she considering running against Marcos if a 1 million signature had been collecting, urging her to enter the race. Former newspaper publisher Joaquin Roses 72 said his group had collected a 1,005,882 signature as of 5:35 p.m. Monday in support of her candidacy.
The ultimate result was the election of Ms. Corazon Aquino as President and Ms. Salvador Laurel as Vice President of the Philippines.
And yet, despite all these serious challenges, not once did Aquino considering declaring martial law. Her stubborn adherence to the democratic process, Archibald MacLeish had said that democracy must be defended by arms when it's attacked by arms and by truth when it's attacked by lies. It's all the more notable when one recalled that even as she was fighting of military rebels, she was also dealing with the fractured cabinet's long-standing domestic rebellion and pernicious problems like a bankrupt economy, corruption, and poverty, the shovel left behind by the Marcos regime.
In March 1986, Aquino proclaimed a provisional elections and soon after appointed a commission to write a new constitution. She failed to undertake fundamental economic or social reforms, and her popularity steadily declined as she faced continued outcries over economic injustice and political corruption.
President Aquino and President Reagan discussed her strenuous effort to bolster the democratic institution of her country and ensure its security, the strength its company, and we assure her that America wants the Philippines democracy to succeed and to prosper, and that we will do what we can help.
Most of money went to buy the 1986 snap election. On top of that, we have been left with a staggering foreign debt of $26 billion and nothing to show for it except some remarkable architecture in New York. Half of our much needed export review are required just to pay for the interest on the debt.
It is stated also the Filipinos face communist insurgents that feeds on economic deterioration, even though they carry a great share of free world defenses in the Pacific. These are only two of the many burdens of people carry even as they try to build a worth and enduring house for their new democracy. Half of the export earning $2 billion out of $4 billion, which was all they could earn in the restrict market of the world. When to pay just the interest on the debt benefit the Filipino people.
Cory Aquino was devastated and sad about the situation of the country, about the 2 decades of social political operation.
The third topic is contribution and relevance of the document in understanding the grand narrative of Philippines history. So the speech of the former President Corazon Aquino give us the insight on how Filipinos struggle to attain freedom and between the state resistance from the past have inspired Filipino revolutionary in our current era. It also gives clarification about the reality happened during the time of Ninoy Aquino.
The document described the struggle faced by the Aquinos to help the Philippines achieve the freedom. The document also mentioned about the debt incurred by the former government before Cory Aquino. This speech also showed that how the dictatorship transformed into democratic government. From its president down to its law, orders, and rules. The document also mentioned that killing of Ninoy Aquino and the terror from torture and conviction during the martial law.
It shows the problem faced by Cory Aquino as soon as she became the president. For instance, the poverty and unemployment. The document mentioned 2 elections occurred after the death of Ninoy Aquino. His wife participated during the election and lost in the first election. During the second, which is a snap election, she became the president and declares democracy in the country.
For the haven from oppression and the home you gave, Ninoy, myself, and our children, and for the 3 happiest years of our lives together. Today I say, join us, America, as we build a new home for democracy, another haven for the oppressed, so it may stand as a shining testament of our 2 nations' commitment to freedom.